23-6A is going to be one of the more competitive football districts in the area. Cy Ranch, Bridgeland, both should be battling it out for the title. But as our producer Ward Fasold and Matt Stepp from Dave Campbell's Texas high school football discuss, there are some other teams going for that crown.
All right, thanks, Jason. Yeah, I'm here with Matt Stepp from Dave Campbell's Texas high school football. We are talking 23-6A with some of these teams in the district aren't used to being in Region 3. They're in it now. They don't have to fight through the DeSotos and Duncanvilles, but they got to get through these Houston squads now. I'm talking about Bridgeland and some of the Cypress schools. There is a clear top tier in this district, I believe, with Bridgeland, Waller, and Cy Ranch. Talk to me about what you see in this district.
I think there's a clear top one. I think Cy Ranch going into 2026 is not only the favorite in this district, but I think they're a contender in Region 3. You know, moving over from Region 2 to Region 3, I think they're going to be in the mix. I mean, I think you're going to have to talk about Cy Ranch along with the North Shores and, you know, teams like Summer Creek, who's moving to Division 1 from Division 2 because of their enrollment jump, Dickinson, those types of things. I think Cy Ranch is in that discussion right now. Will Blaylock going into year 3, they were 8-2 at the JV level last year. They bring back 6-4, but they bring back a lot of frontline talent. This is a super, super talented team. Amari Dickerson, defensive lineman, one of the top defensive linemen in the countries. But sophomore defensive end Cameron Bledsoe was a game wrecker as a freshman last year. He's back. That Cy Ranch pass rush is going to be absolutely ferocious. Antonio Murray, another sophomore who played a lot as a freshman, probably going to be a key player in the secondary. Then Braden Baker at quarterback, the 6'5" senior, leading that offense. Christian White, Manny Leha, big time skill talent. Champ Blaylock, who's Coach Blaylock's son, missed all of last year with a torn ACL. He's already got a Division I offer. He's going to join White in the backfield to kind of give Cy Ranch a 1-2 punch. And then they got one of the top offensive linemen in the country in Armani Edwards. This is a complete football team that I think is going to be super athletic. Here's the one question for them, though, right? You got to find some other guys to go around Edwards in the offensive line, and they're going to be young at linebacker. If those two questions can get answered, I think this is a Cy Ranch team that's a top 10 team in the state potentially.
They were tough out last year. They lost in overtime to Wax.
In round 3, I think they feel like they let that game slip away. They were up 2 scores on Waxahachie late, and I think they feel like they let Waxahachie off the hook, or if they don't, they're in a regional final against Duncanville. And, you know, Waxahachie and Duncanville were toe-to-toe. I think Cy Ranch showed last year they can go toe-to-toe with anyone in the state of Texas, including the powers from the DFW area.
Well, we got the second tier, Bridgeland and Waller. And Waller, they still got TK Gaines for a couple more years, right? Yeah, I know a lot of teams trying to get him to pull out of there and go somewhere else. But
he's locked in at Waller. TK Gaines, one of the top quarterbacks in the class of 2028. He's just going to be a junior, but he's already started, I think, 21 games. Yeah. So he's a veteran. He is a leader. Glowin Mabali, a big-time wide receiver with 7 catches. They got to settle on the running game. They lost a really productive running back to graduation last year. They got to figure that out. That was a great compliment and took a lot of the pressure off of TK. So who's going to step in at running back? The defense, they take a lot. They take a lot of chances. They are a feast or famine defense. They force a ton of turnovers. They are susceptible to big plays, but they will make big plays as well. David Brown, defensive coordinator, plays that kind of aggressive style. That's going to be a much improved defense, I think. They bring back 6 starters. So if they can limit the big plays but still have that propensity to force turnovers, I think Waller's going to be in the mix. You talk about Bridgeland, and it starts and ends with Kash Schwab, one of the best running backs that you don't talk about. Again, you know, Houston running backs, there's such talent in the Houston area at the running back position. A guy like Kash Schwab, who had 1,400 yards and 19 touchdowns last year, probably doesn't get the credit that he deserves. But he is a true every down running back. Chase Allen. It always seems like Bridgeland, much like Atascocita, had a pipeline of offensive linemen. Bridgeland's got that. Chase Allen, big physical offensive lineman. I think the strength of the defense is going to be in the secondary. They've got Camden Buchanan, Reagan Foji, the younger brother of Ryan Foji, one of those Bridgeland offensive linemen, Jordan Sims. This is a team that I think, with their 9-1 JV, they've got good depth coming up. So I think Bridgeland is probably right now my pick as the number 2, and I think Waller probably is there at number 3. And I think that battle for 4th is going to be really interesting with the Lamar consolidated schools. But if you're asking me who I'm picking for that 4th spot, I'm probably going with the Fulshear Chargers under head coach Stephen Hill. Year 2 under Coach Hill, we always talk about the year 2 bump, right? Coach Hill got there late last year. He's had a full off season. Trey Clue has 14 touchdown catches as a sophomore.
A lot of good receivers there.
Big time speed.
Is that a trend?
Yeah, it's a trend, And then Ryland Forks.
It seems like it's a trend with the receivers. So.
Yeah, and then Ryland Forks, the Swiss Army knife, he can do a little bit of everything. I think he might get moved to quarterback this year for Fulshear. And I think if he does that, I think you're going to see a little bit more of the QB run game from Fulshear, but Forks can throw the football as well. And I think they're going to have a lot more continuity. Much tougher district, but they were 7-4 last year, 9-1 JV, 8 starters back on defense. They should be improved. I like Fulshear for that 4 seed.
All right, Step Up can dig it. We are going to talk. We're going to drop down into 5A next time we talk and kick it back to my man Bristow.